Welcome, hackers. Today we're going to venture to an entirely different plane. We're going to Acheron, the infinite battlefield. Who lives here, and what kind of adventures can the players expect when they venture to this plane? Well, before we explore that, we need to take a look at the geography of the plane itself, because it is unusual. The plane is comprised of 4 layers. Each layer is a series of blocks floating through an infinite void. The uppermost layer has the largest blocks, some as big as entire continents, while the lower levels have gradually smaller blocks. As these blocks float around, they occasionally collide, causing no upheaval or tremors though. During this time, inhabitants can travel from one block to another, but be quick because they will soon float away from each other again. Gravity on Acheron is strange. It doesn't exactly pull straight towards the center of a block, but instead pulls down towards each individual surface. This can lead to interesting interactions between inhabitants meeting along the edge. If you find different planes within the Dungeons & Dragons world interesting, then please give me a like so that it will help promote this video, and I will make more videos about other planes. Now, the topmost layer is called Avalis, or maybe Avalis. These blocks are made of a hard, dark material, echoing the sounds of battle and troop movement, and there is always troop movement because there is always battle here on the iron-shod battle plane of Acheron. The landscape consists of cone-shaped mountains and pits, as well as large iron fortresses belonging to various armies. Interestingly, this is where the fabled River Styx is located. It bubbles up from one pit, then meanders along the surface a while before flowing back down into another pit, only to reemerge on another block entirely. There are portals on Avalis leading to the astral plane, Nirvana, and the 9 hells. These strange portals hang in a fixed location in space and pass harmlessly through blocks as they float through the layer. The portals deactivate when passing through a block and reactivate when re-emerging on the other side. Chances are, if you come through one of these portals, you'll be far above the ground, and you better have a way to fly or risk falling to your death. One notable location on this plane is Nishrek. Nishrek is the home to Grumpsh, the one-eyed god of the orcs.
Orcs?
It is a moon-sized cube covered with trenches dug for defense. Battle between orcs and goblins rage all the time here. There is also the goblin realm, Klangar. Armies of goblin tribes are in constant battle, as dying on this plane isn't permanent. They're resurrected every dawn to begin battling anew. The next layer down is Fuldanen. It is an interesting scrapyard of countless contraptions. Weapons, armor, failed experiments, shipwrecks, and even fallen buildings can be found here. This layer has smaller blocks than the ones above, many of which are hollow with tunnels. There is no permanent inhabitants on this layer, as a strange magic here turns everything to stone over just a few days. Further down still is the layer called Tintibulus. This layer has even smaller blocks made of gray volcanic stone. There are many different shapes of blocks here, and they occasionally collide, fracturing into smaller pieces. There are no permanent inhabitants here, though it is attractive to magical researchers because of its emptiness and isolation. Finally, we have Ocanthus. This may be the most dangerous layer of all. The blocks here are so thin, they're almost two-dimensional. Gravity on both sides pulls directly to each surface. Some blocks are only an inch long, while others may be several miles. The danger is that they are all flying about like various sized blades, and being hit by the razor-sharp edges could slice you in two. Let me know in the comments which of these layers you think would be most interesting to have an adventure on. The main inhabitants of Acheron are legions of spirits from a variety of species. We've mentioned orcs and goblins that live on the same large block and are locked in a constant struggle, but humans, dwarves, halflings, and even ogres can be found here as well. Different factions might fight for control of a single block, gain control of that block, and then spread to a new block when they come into contact. The warriors here are fearless, as dying only means waiting a day or less to be back at full strength and ready for battle once more. Well, you've piqued my curiosity, but what would an adventure be like on the plane of Acheron? Excellent question, Cletus, and that would depend on what layer they're on. And while I tell you about that, maybe you viewers could consider subscribing so that you could see more of my videos about different planes. On Avalis, the upper level, is where all the battles are constantly raging. An adventure there could be all kinds of things. The party might have to find a magical MacGuffin and need to wade through the battlefield to find it. Perhaps they've been tasked by one faction or another to help shift the eternal struggle in that faction's favor. The party might even be stopping here on the way somewhere else and need to wait for a certain portal to float by, avoiding conflict until it arrives. On Thuldanen, they might need to fetch something that has somehow been deposited here. This is a great opportunity to put a clock on the adventure. Remember that staying too long could turn the party to stone. It might be possible that things immune to petrification are here, like golems, gargoyles, and ghosts.
Interestingly inspired alliteration, sir.
Thanks, Digit. On Tintibulus, where the only thing the party might encounter are magical experiments, maybe a gnome tinker needs the party's help in capturing a magical construct that has escaped. Or perhaps the magical construct needs rescued from its forced servitude. An interesting twist is the fact that dying isn't really permanent here. It isn't really clear on what that means, though, so you, the dungeon master, can work that out however you want. Did a party member die somewhere? Then the rest of the party might need to come here to get him resurrected. You can make dying and being reborn a part of the adventure. The players can fight one unwinnable battle after another. Each encounter's goal isn't to vanquish the enemies, as there's too many to be defeated, but to complete some task before being killed to set up the next unwinnable encounter of the day. That one sounds pretty fun to me. Encounter 1 might be that they have to find the warrior in the middle of a battle and convince him to tell them where the MacGuffin is hidden before they are all killed. If they fail, they might be able to go back the next day. If they convince him before they die, then the next day, after being resurrected, they can go to that location and open the secret door by pulling the lever before being destroyed by the main gate guardian. On day 3, they can sneak in through the gate that they opened the day before. The first time the players are defeated, they may feel like it was unfair, but by the time they get to the end of the adventure, they might be willing to throw caution to the wind. I think I might write that one up. If you want to see a video about an adventure like that, consider becoming a channel member, and I'll put that one up there for all the members to see. So what are your thoughts on the plane of Acheron and its many layers? Let me know in the comments below. And until the next video, remember, keep on hacking the dungeon.